We increase our faith by stripping things away. Hey, my name is Brian. Welcome to My Garage Bible Study. I'm letting you back in on my project that I've started to work on, this 1978 CJ7. It's the exact vehicle, for the most part, that I had in college when I was 19, 20 years old, and I had to sell it because I couldn't afford the gas. And I've always wanted to get another one someday in the future when I could afford it and restore it. So I'm restoring this thing, and there's so many parallels to how you restore your faith. As I'm building this, there's so many parallels to how you actually build your faith. Let's see one way that Jesus looks at it in the book of John, chapter 15, verse 1 to 2. Here's what he says. I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away, and every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes that it may bear more fruit. Jesus says he's the vine. We're attached to him. The way we thrive in our faith is being attached to him, not by having the right theological ideas, though the right theological ideas are better than the wrong theological ideas, but we grow by being attached to Jesus. He is the vine, and he says his Father is the vine dresser. That's the person who's responsible to make sure the vine is healthy and to make sure that things on the vine are growing. The point of a vineyard isn't the vine, it's the fruit that comes off the vine. That's the point. And the vine dresser does everything possible to make sure there's fruit. How do you feel about your spiritual fruit right now? Do you feel like you're juicy? Do you feel like stuff is popping out of your life that's amazing? If not, or even if so, one thing you can't get away from is God taking things away from you. He will strip things away from you. It says there's some people who just are not bearing fruit at all, probably because they're not attached to the vine, and he cuts it away. He throws it away. Earlier I put some aircraft air stripper on this because I'm trying to figure out what's underneath this paint. Is there Bondo under here that's causing this paint to not look very good? What imperfections are under there? To get this Jeep to where I need it to be, I've got to take things away. Not just keep adding another layer of paint, but take it away. So I spread this stuff over, and then I just come back and I take it away. Look at that. Oh man, that's looking good right there. This is a process I've been doing on this whole Jeep. It's been really interesting to see how every body panel has a story, every single one. Some of these body panels had multiple layers of paint. This one looks like it maybe only had one layer of paint. So maybe it was wrecked at some point, or it was too rusted out and they put a replacement hood on it, and it just has one layer of paint. Yeah, it looks like there's just one layer of blue paint. Unless, no, that's raw metal. So what I'll be doing here, I gotta tell you, it's kind of addictive. It's like when you start scraping, you don't want to stop, especially when it comes off really easy. Oh, you want to do that, don't you? Oh. All right, I'll stop right now. You didn't tune to My Garage Bible Study to watch a guy restore a Jeep, though you are a little bit, tuned in for the Bible. It's a Bible study. The reason why I'm just having so much fun right now, just easily scraping this off, is there's been parts on this. This is just my first coat of stripper, and I've made such progress. There's other parts on this body where I'm like 4 layers deep, 4 different coats, and the smell is just awful. I'm just trying to take things away to get down to the core, trying to strip it away. As long as you are attached to Jesus, as long as you're around Jesus, things are going to be taken away. Some things are taken away and just thrown into the fire. It's nothing. It just gone. Sometimes there's something in your life that's not bad, that even could be good. But as God looks at it, He's looking at the long haul of your life and saying, if this stays here, will it crowd out other fruit? Will this thing right here produce as much fruit as it possibly can? That's what pruning is about. This hood looked fine for the most part. I mean, this part didn't look fine. This little spot in the middle, there was some engine fire in there at some point, and it just bubbled the paint. So that doesn't look good, but a lot of this kind of looks good. That's the way our walk with Christ is. Some of our faith looks good. It looks good, but is it good? That's what the vine dresser does. He says, I don't care if it looks good or even if it's moral. Some things He takes away, because when He takes it away, there's something in how the vine and the molecular structure of all of the makeup of that vine, the fruit, there's something about when the right cut is made at the right time, it brings more fruit and new fruit. I meet very few people who want to take things away from their life. Most of us just want to add things. We don't want to lose anything. We just want to add things. Following Christ is about removing the right things and enjoying the growth in the other things. John the Baptist said of Jesus, He must increase and I must decrease. That's what John the Baptist, I must decrease. I must strip myself away. I must strip myself down. But few of us are up for that. We cling to the thing that we have and we don't want to lose it. Going forward is all about things you leave behind. Going higher is all about things that you drop. New growth is all about things that you cut off. That could be a belief you have. That could be an attitude you have. It could be a friend you have. I say friend. It's probably more like an associate who is very loosely attached to you and may not be doing much for you. It may be a girlfriend that's pulling you back. It may be a boyfriend that's pulling you back. It may be the way you're spending your money. It may be a hobby that you have that's taking too much and keeping you from doing the things that God wants you to do. It could be any number of things. We have to get comfortable with the thing that we ultimately want. We have to ultimately want being close to Jesus, tied to Him, grafted into Him. He is the vine, wrapped around Him. And then the purpose for that is to bear fruit. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, self-control. All of these things, the fruit of the Spirit, they come by the taking away. So, embrace the fact that to go up, you're going to have to lose some things. To grow, you're going to have to leave some things behind. And God will prune you. He will cut things away from you. And we never like it in the moment, but looking back on it, we're always like, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. I got to be able to be in a house because I was in a rental house in Pittsburgh. I live in Cincinnati. And in that rental house, my wife and I just had an amazingly comfortable existence. I was on a ministry salary. I wasn't making a lot of money. I never saw any way that I would be able to save for a down payment on a house and then afford a mortgage. But we had this beautiful little house that a relative was renting to us for dirt cheap. It was on an acre of land, cool little house, $350 a month. And we remember saying, we're never going to leave here. This is amazing. We should have never said that to God. Because shortly thereafter, we had a house fire that eliminated everything we had. Everything was burned to the ground, ruined by smoke. It was all gone, and we had no renter's insurance either, by the way. We were possessionless. But what God did, we didn't know that at the time. We just thought it was an awful, tragic loss. It was tragic losing my dog in the fire. But really what God was doing is He was pruning us. He was stripping things away. He knew that if we were in love with this little house and attached to this house, we wouldn't go off into the adventure that God would have for us, an adventure that caused us to move to Cincinnati and start a church and do a bunch of other things. It was the pruning. And I go after person after person after person, people who I thought I would be serving with in ministry forever. God prunes them away. He takes them away. And it's a hard loss, a difficult thing, but I look back at those things, I see how I've grown as those people have been pruned away because I've had to lean into certain things that I hadn't been leaning into, learn skills I hadn't learned. Friends, if you want to be built to be the person God wants you to be, you're going to have to get comfortable with things being stripped away. Hey, thanks for coming to my Garage Bible Study. We'll see you next time.